Friday, day 5, my boobs at one point during the day started to really hurt while I was waiting for Jack to wake up. He was sleeping a little bit longer than usual and they were so full and tender. I couldn't like lie on my side. I couldn't even touch them. They were so tender. They felt like they were bruised. My doula stopped by also and we just talked about my labor and delivery, and she just answered any questions that we had. Basically just gave us some tips on postpartum and breastfeeding and all that stuff, like a postpartum checkup, I guess. And I'm so glad that I got a doula. I'm so happy that I went with my gut and got one, and even Byron said that he was glad that she was there, which I'm so happy that he admitted to it. I'm actually surprised that he did admit it because he's pretty stubborn. Saturday, day 6, my nipples were pretty good by then. They just stung a little when he would first latch, but after that they were fine. Or sometimes if I got really cold and they say it got hard, it would kind of be uncomfortable, but other than that they were good. My nipples never really got super sore because I think I started getting a really good latch from the beginning. It's all about the latch. If you're not getting a good latch, you're going to get really sore and have a lot of blisters and possibly crack open, and it just goes downhill from there. So just be sure you get a really good latch, or look up videos on how to get a good latch. I have my doula. She showed me how to get a good latch. I started feeling a little bit better on Saturday down there. It started healing up pretty good. The swelling was pretty much gone. Saturday was also the first time that I went out with Jack, and it was pretty stressful. Just getting him in his car seat is the worst. He makes a lot of like grunting noises when you're like tightening it up, so it felt like I was squishing him, which I wasn't. It's just he just likes to make those sounds. But he was so good. He didn't make a sound. And I took him to get some newborn pictures done. Actually, a local photographer messaged me and asked me if she could photograph him because she was training another photographer or something like that. And she offered me free photos, so of course I said yes. And overall, it went really well, which I'm super happy, because if the first time out was horrible, I probably wouldn't have left the house anymore. That evening, my back was really sore, probably from taking him out and probably from carrying his car seat. Sunday, Jack was 1 week old. It flew by. I could not believe it. And just thinking about giving birth, it just felt like a distant memory. Like it almost feels like it never really happened. It's a weird feeling. Obviously, I still remember the pain, but somewhat not really also. I don't know, it's weird to think back on it. I also had a sore back again that day, and I took an Epsom salt bath. I know you're not supposed to take baths after you give birth, but I did. I just didn't stay in there very long. I got a headache on that day, which I didn't have headaches in so long, so I thought that was really weird. I weighed that day and I think I was about 46 pounds, so I lost 20 pounds in 1 week, which is pretty incredible. Monday, I had more newborn pictures booked for him. It was ones that I paid for myself before the other lady messaged me. So I took him out for those, and again, I was super nervous about putting him in his car seat. And it was, my appointment was at 9 a.m. and I did not know how I managed to make it there on time, because I had to get up, get ready, feed him, and be out the door by 8:30, which before I had a baby, I was bad enough trying to get out the door, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I woke up that morning also to almost like a pulled muscle in my right side, and it was probably, or it was kind of like on the right side of my belly button, and it was probably a pulled muscle from carrying the car seat or from lifting my dog, because I did lift him once, which I shouldn't have done. I went to the grocery store to get some things for dinner, and when I came back, I got the chills so bad. So I went and got the tub, and after I got out, I just got in bed because I was still, I remember I had the bath water so hot and I was still had goosebumps. I had a really bad headache, I had the chills, I had really sore muscles again, burning eyes, and that pulled muscle in my side. It felt like I was getting sick. I started to worry that I had an infection in my, I thought it was in my stitches. I was just about to sit down to the table and I had a full-blown meltdown. And everyone was sitting on the couch and I just started bawling my eyes out. And when I started crying, I lost control of my bladder. And I ran to the bathroom and Byron came in and he's like, "What's wrong?" And they thought that I was crying because I peed my pants, but I was crying because I was just, what I think was because I was just so overwhelmed and scared of the fact of having an infection. And I knew that if I had an infection, I had to go on antibiotics, and I really didn't want to go on antibiotics because that goes through your breast milk. And it just stressed me out so much that I had a full-on meltdown. I did end up going to emergency in the hospital, and while I was waiting there, I got the sweats, so definitely had like a fever going on there. I got home around 11:30 p.m. so I wasn't there too long, but I ended up having a UTI, a bladder infection, so they did give me a week's worth of antibiotics, which I was pretty upset about. Oh, before I went to the hospital, I pumped some milk just in case Byron needed it for Jack, and that also made me really upset because I didn't want to give him a bottle. We didn't end up using the bottle, but it still made me sad, which is ridiculous. So after birth, emotionally I was feeling really good. I did have my mom and my sister and my dad and my brother here, so I think that really helped me emotionally because my mom and my sister, they would cook and clean for me, which is really nice, and I'm so thankful for you guys if you are watching. I love you. But it really helped me postpartum. So some other topics that I want to touch on, like overall, discharge and like vaginal bleeding. The first 3 days I used like the woman's Pampers or whatever they're called. I can't remember exactly the name of them, but they're just like underwear, I guess, a pad underwear. And I really like those because I didn't have to worry about leaks or whatever. I just felt like they covered better than the pads, like the maxi pads. I did make the padsicles with aloe vera and the witch hazel, and I only used them a few times though, but if I did make them, I would make them on the big maxi pads, and then I would put the maxi pad in the like diaper underwear. And it just worked really good. The only thing I didn't like about the underwear that I had, they were scented, and I feel like that was irritating me. It might not have been, but I didn't really like the scented part. The first few days home, I did lose control of my bladder. Not fully, like I knew when I had to pee. It was just when I got in the bathroom and I started pulling down my pants. I guess just the separation from the pad and me, it would just make me start peeing, so I would just start peeing before I was ready. I didn't lose control of my bowels, so that's a good thing, which that can happen as well. After the freezing wore up, I got really sore, and with my stitches, I think it just made it a whole lot worse. For that, I was using the padsicles. I had the Earth Mama bottom spray. I also used the sitz bath a couple times, and I still use the witch hazel on my butt after I would poop because I would still have that like itchiness, I guess hemorrhoids. And I also took Advil a couple of times for pain. As for breastfeeding, my milk came in on the 3rd day, I believe it was. And then he stopped feeding so much. What I liked the best was the first few days that I would breastfeed him, he would like pet my boob with his hand, and it just felt so nice, and it was so sweet. It was my favorite thing. For my nipples, I used the Earth Mama nipple cream, and I used that for about a week before I gave birth, and then I used it for about the first week postpartum. And I don't know if that maybe was why I didn't crack or bleed, but I believe it's all in the latch. Sleeping, when he was in the bassinet the first couple nights, he would wake every hour and a half, and then after that we put him in bed with us and co-slept, and he only woke maybe twice a night. Ever since he was born, he's been super alert. Every day, usually in the morning and then in the evening for about 2 hours. He's wide awake, and you can put him in his bassinet. He doesn't mind. He'll just lie there and look around. He's so wide-eyed, and a lot of my family, every time they see him, they say that he's so bright. So I didn't talk about this in my pregnancy vlogs. I was going to, but I wasn't sure on what I was going to do. But we decided not to circumcise him. I personally didn't want to circumcise him at all, really, but I didn't really know. He wanted to look into it more, but we decided not to. I think it's more of a cosmetic thing these days. Not so many people are doing it, and I just thought it was unnecessary. As for stretch marks, before I gave birth, I had none. I had I think 2 spots on my right thigh and 2 spots on my left thigh, right below my underwear line. And then after I gave birth, they got a lot worse on my thighs, and there was a few more on my thighs. And then about a week, maybe even 2 weeks after, I got a few on the bottom of my belly button. Not like the angry red ones, just you can barely see them. But the ones on my thighs are like red and angry. And I did get some on my boobs, on the bottom of my boobs. But I mean, stretch marks on your boobs, no one's gonna see them, only your partner, so that's not too bad. I did get a little bit constipated, so I stopped taking my iron pills. And I'll take them every like 3 days or something like that instead of every day. About a week also after, I noticed that my tailbone feels bruised, and that could have been from my labor, where I had a lot of back labor because he was OP, or facing up instead of facing down. But that is still tender now, and I'm 4 weeks postpartum on Sunday. I also woke up a few times in the night with night sweats, and I am not a sweaty person, but mom sweats is totally a thing, and he is a sweaty baby as well. But that's pretty much sums up the first week. I'll probably do a 1 month update, which is pretty soon. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in my next one.